Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. I will be your host today, once again, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. And while I normally do not do this program by myself today, it's just going to be you and I. And, well, we're going to be celebrating Hump Day.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
It's Hump Day.
Hump Day!
It's Hump Day.
Hump Day!
Oh, that's right, folks. Today is Hump Day. This is the day in which we attempt to begin the weekend, sometimes with success, sometimes not. But as I always like to say, the fun is really in the trying. So we hope that you'll try with us. Do us a favor. Make sure if you're obviously you're watching the program, make sure you like, you share, and you subscribe. And however you are partaking of the program, tell your friends about it. If you're watching us on OpsLens, if you're watching us on Spotify, or if you're listening to us wherever you get your podcasts, or if you're watching us on YouTube, Facebook, or Rumble, or even on Twitter. That's right, we are actually on Twitter. By the way, in all of those cases, we are on multiple channels. And we do that because we know that, well, sadly, the algorithms, the Google gods, they don't like what we have to say because, being conservative and all. So we believe in being on multiple channels. That way, if one decides they want to shut us out, well, they all won't shut us out. So anyway, like I always say, we don't care how you partake. All we care is that you participate and that you encourage your friends to do the same. All right, now before we get into the program, we're going to go ahead and do a quick shout out to our sponsors. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to start with Hitman Industries. If you're looking for rifle or pistol caliber barrels, Hitman Industries is the place to go. If you purchased an AR recently, chances are you've already got one of their barrels in your home, but hey, why not get another one? Why not do a brand new build? Why not rebuild your other firearms? Or rebuild. Yeah, rebuild and rebarrel. There you go. Rebarrel your other firearms. Whatever you're deciding to do, go ahead and do it with Hitman Industries. You'll find them at hitmanindustries.net. Check them out today. And then if you're looking to get involved in the fight behind enemy lines here in the state of California, I can think of no better place than the California Republican Assembly. It is the largest and fastest growing grassroots conservative organization in the state of California. Ronald Reagan once referred to CRA as the conscience of the Republican Party. So check them out at cragop.org. That's cragop.org. Become a part of California's future today. Join CRA. Next, we've got Hog holsters. If you're looking for an inside the waistband, outside the waistband holster, if you're looking for a tactical holster or a concealed carry holster, go to hogholsters.com. You can find what you're looking for there. The best part is if you use the discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces, well, then, you know what? You can get a discount. Why not? Anyway, check them out today. That's hogholsters.com. Finally, if you're looking for tactical gear, outdoor gear, cold gear, warm weather gear, boots, helmets, hats, sunglasses, backpacks, all sorts of outdoor gear, you'll find it at uscombatgear.com. Veteran owned and operated. They operate in integrity. They have fast shipping and great prices. Check them out at uscombatgear.com. All right, let's now get into today's program, talking the news and all that fun stuff. We're going to start by talking about Biden's default. That's right. The mainstream media and the Democrats have gone out of their way in order to attempt to try and kind of market what is going on when it comes to the debt ceiling. They're really pushing to try and make it a Republican thing and really trying to blame Republicans. Now, McCarthy, though, Kevin McCarthy is actually having none of it. Kevin McCarthy basically has gone out of his way and has been very, very successful, according to polling numbers, in rebranding the looming debt ceiling breach as Biden's default. Now, why do we call it Biden's default? Well, if you may recall, several weeks ago, Republicans in the House, or let's put it this way, the House passed, and well, because there's a majority of Republicans there, the House actually passed a bill that actually increases the debt limit, the debt ceiling. But what they also included with it were some moderate, and when I say moderate, I mean modest. Probably modest is a better term to use. Spending reductions. They said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to set spending for discretionary spending, not non-discretionary spending, which is already locked in, but in discretionary spending, we're going to set it at 2022 levels. That's basically what we spent last year, and then allow for a 1% increase each year after that. They also included in their work requirements for those who are looking for Medicaid. So in other words, if you are over the age of 18, so if you're 19 years old or older, you have no or under the age of 55, you have no children and you have no disabilities. Basically meaning if there's no reason why you cannot work is basically what they're saying. Then you have to at least either show that you're getting some training, showing that you're looking for work, or that you have a job in order to get Medicaid. So in other words, would be basically the working poor in order to be able to get Medicaid. That is not unreasonable. Requiring that someone at least look for a job or pretend to have a job, pretend to try and get a job, that's not asking too much. But the idea is that we got to have some sort of requirements. Right? We've got to have something. We got to start to look at how we're going to start to rein in spending. Because what's going on with the debt ceiling is they keep saying it's money we already spent. And they're right. It's money we've already spent. And when I say we, I mean the Democrats, because Democrats have been in charge of both houses of Congress for the last several years, as well as the presidency. But this is money, once again, that they've already spent, that they've already approved, right? Money's already on its way out the door. But it's kind of like this. So imagine you just spent the last couple of years, you've maxed out 5 credit cards, you got a car payment, you got a house payment, and you just don't have enough cash coming in to cover all of your bills, right? Well, imagine then saying, well, you know what? We need to take out another credit card so that we can pay off our other bills. So we make it basically so that we can rob Peter to pay Paul. Well, I get that you can't cut everything, because right now you're basically paying on the debt. On a lot of it is on the interest on that debt. But at a certain point, you have to say, you know what? I need to get my spending in control, in line. I need to start to move towards the point where I am spending less than I'm bringing in, so that I can pay off some of this debt. Well, that's what Republicans did when they passed that bill. They're basically saying we need to have a conversation about spending. We need to start reining in spending. And that was, once again, a very modest reduction. Now, the reason why Democrats don't see it as a modest reduction is because, well, see, to them, any cut, first of all, for Democrats, they consider it to be, when they look at a cut in spending, they're like, okay, well, to them, a cut is more a cut in the projected increase. So if I spent $100 million on a program this year and I was projected to spend $125 million on it next year, but I now pull that back to, 110, they would consider that a $15 million cut. When it's not a $15 million cut. It's still a $10 million increase. But that's Democrat math. That's budget math. That's how that math works. And it doesn't work out real well. And at this point, though, the idea of raising the debt limit is, once again, says it allows us to go over and spend and basically increase the amount of debt we're willing to take on. And I think McCarthy is right. Look, we need to have some sort of controls in place. And that's what he's requiring here. And by the way, at this point, it's on the Senate. The Senate can take the exact same bill and pass it, or they can just pass a straight debt ceiling limit, and then they can go to conference and they can figure out what they want to do from there. It's on them. It's on them. McCarthy doesn't have to do anything else except sit down, negotiate, and figure out what the heck they want. And clearly, though, when they say that they're not interested, by the way, here's the funny part, is you had the president say that he's not in favor of setting any requirements, work requirements on Medicaid. But this is the exact same guy who voted when he voted for welfare reform. Clinton, you remember Clinton's welfare reform? Yeah, he was the one who pushed and promoted work requirements. So yeah, kind of hypocritical. But then again, if we know good old Uncle Joe Biden, he probably doesn't even remember that he voted that way. So anyway, moving right along to our next topic. Let's see here. All right, next we got members of the squad vote against honoring cops. I know you are shocked and surprised, right? I know that this comes as a real huge surprise for you, but no, it is not a surprise. Let me get over here. All right, according to this story, Cori Bush and Akita Tlaib, there they are pictured right there. They voted against a resolution honoring police because they said it was intended to advance Republicans' false narrative. Now, let me see here what false narrative exactly it is that they're talking about here. In a joint statement Tuesday, Bush and Tlaib said that while the health and safety of first responders is a top priority for them, the resolution was not a referendum on support for the safety of first responders. It is a document intended to advance Republicans' false narrative around supporting law enforcement and gaslighting the public about where they stand. They added. The progressive pair went on to criticize the GOP as the party of insurrection, claiming Republican lawmakers enabled January 6th by peddling lies about the election. Far from supporting law enforcement, Republicans are using their majority to actively target agencies that try to uphold the law and hold them and their cult leader, Donald Trump, accountable for their criminal behavior, they said. If Republicans cared about public safety, including the safety of law enforcement officers, they wouldn't be enabling insurrection, passing hypocritical messaging bills, and holding our economy hostage so that they can ram through their unpopular agenda that divests from our communities. Now, here's what's a trip. So number one, all I will say is this. More officers were injured and killed during the George Floyd riots, which both of these two helped promote, than would have been 100 January 6th. So let's talk about that first and foremost. Number two, each and every Republican member that I know of, that I've heard of, I've never heard one Republican member of the legislature not stand up and decry any of the violence that took place on January 6th. They've all said, by the way, those who engage in it need to be held accountable. I've never heard Cori Bush or Akita Tlaib stand up and say, yeah, the people who were killing people, including a 9-year-old girl, including a retired law enforcement officer. Thousands of officers were injured during the George Floyd riots. I didn't hear either one of them saying that those individuals who were engaged in that needed to be held accountable. So stop lying. And by the way, the other thing you think, well, they're keeping money from going to very much needed communities. No, they're actually pushing for more funding for law enforcement while you Democrats are pushing to defund the police. And yes, both Cori Bush and Akita Tlaib are both defunders. That's both of them. So that's another hypocritical lie they're talking about. And by the way, when it comes to holding law enforcement accountable, the people that Republicans are talking about in particular when they're talking about that, what they're talking about when they talk about the FBI, they're basically have been looking at an agency where the leadership, and that's primarily where they're looking, the leadership inserted itself into an election of the President of the United States, not once but twice, in order to advocate against a candidate that they didn't like. Yeah, I think that's something that Democrats should be upset about, something that Democrats should be frustrated about, something that Democrats should want to know and hear about. At least one would think. I don't know. Anyway, it says here, just someone new from YouTube says, anything that comes out of Democrats' mouth is BS. I will tell you, there are some very good people that I know who are Democrats who are not BS. But the problem is that the ones who are in leadership, the ones who the media will actually listen to and put microphones in front of, they are BS. You get some of the ones who are the good ones who buy into the BS, then the media will put a microphone in front of them. But don't let them get up there and don't let them get up there and speak the truth. Yeah, then those Democrats don't get anything out of them. So anyway, thank you to someone new for tuning in to the program. And when I say someone new, literally it says someone new. So yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Okay, our next story. This story comes out of. Okay, so this story comes out of Illinois. It's kind of out of Illinois. So the Supreme Court, there's the Illinois assault weapons ban. And the Illinois, or the Supreme Court has allowed this to stand. Now, what gets me is, and here's the funny part. So oftentimes what happens is when these things go forth, so you file a lawsuit and the first thing you do is you file an injunction or a temporary injunction. And the idea is that if you get the temporary injunction, that means that the court believes that there's a strong likelihood that you're going to win. Doesn't mean that if you don't get it, you're not. It just means that they believe that you're more likely to win. Well, in this particular case, the Supreme Court refused to put in place a temporary injunction or a temporary restraining order, keeping the law from going into place. Now, they have already said with other laws that they were dealing with, look, because of the change in how we're having these cases handled and how they're supposed to be evaluated, getting away from the levels of scrutiny, they're saying, maybe let's give the courts an opportunity to do the right thing. That's all they're saying. That's it. And if it makes it to them, they're going to overturn it. If they're going to overturn it if it's wrong. Well, I wanted to tell you that and explain that to you because look at how NBC News is reporting it. According to NBC News, Supreme Court rejects challenge to Illinois assault weapons ban. Gun rights group seek to immediately block the law that bans assault-style rifles, such as the AR-15 semi-automatic rifle, as well as large-capacity magazines. But notice the big one. The main headline is they reject the challenge to the assault weapons ban. Well, not really. I mean, not really. They didn't reject. The subheading or the subtitle is moderately more accurate, right? Moderately. They didn't say that it was just a temporary restraining order. They just said, we went after them, trying to get them to stop right now. That's what they said. And we said, nope, we're not going to stop them. They didn't say that they're not. They didn't say that they're not going to stop them. They said that they're just not going to do it right now. They're going to give the courts the opportunity to do the right thing. But I mean, counting on the mainstream media to report anything accurately or to report anything fairly, it's a challenge. And once again, those of you who know, I've told you this, I do work with mainstream media as well as with alternative media. When I say alternative, I mean conservative media. And I can tell you that most of the mainstream media outlets are not providing accurate information. They're not providing the whole truth. In some cases, because they don't want to. In some cases, because quite honestly, their culture is such that they only surround themselves with people who agree with them ideologically. So in many cases, they have no access to the type of information needed in order to ask the right questions, in order to be able to project the other side of the argument. And in many cases, they don't even know that they don't even know enough to know that there's an other side to the argument, because once again, nobody around them encourages them to try and find that other side, because they're more interested in advocating than they are for actually doing, right? Than they are for actually, in this case, reporting. Reporting is not exactly their strong suit, sadly enough. And here's another one that you're not going to hear much about. At least I have not heard much about this in traditional media, in the legacy media. But once again, you go to conservative media, you go to alternative media, and there it is. And this one is a doozy. Now, I live in California, so I know that right now the state is facing a $32 billion deficit. $32 billion deficit. Now, mind you, This is a state that just a year ago had a $95 billion surplus. How wrong have things gone? Just saying, out of about almost $300 million budget, $300 billion budget, and they are facing a $32 billion deficit, in case I was saying M before, in case I was saying million before. But now, mind you, and they had a $95 billion surplus not too long ago. Things have gone dramatically wrong in the state of California. But no, that is not going to keep the state of California from overspending. How are they going to overspend? California, which is in deficit, considers unemployment benefits for undocumented workers. Wait. Let's read a little bit into this. The California state legislature is considering a bill that would grant unemployed workers who are illegally in the country access to unemployment benefits, even though the state is running a massive budget deficit. As Breitbart News reported earlier this week, California's fiscus has fallen in the space of 1 year from a surplus of $100 billion. I'm sorry, I underestimated. Partially based on federal cash for coronavirus relief, to a staggering deficit of $32 billion. In his revised budget, Gavin Newsom cautioned legislators to maintain prudence, but under SB 227, excluded workers who are in the country illegally would be able to receive $300 per week in benefits. As Fox News reported, proponents say migrant workers deserve the benefits despite entering the U.S. unlawfully. Now, let's see. If you entered the country unlawfully, then that means that you cannot lawfully gain employment. If you have not lawfully gained employment, how can you lawfully get unemployment benefits? Because the governor said you could. Do you see how we get into a deficit? Do you see how the state of California gets into a deficit? Think about this. You already knew. They knew at the beginning of the year, before everything started, that they had a $29 billion deficit. And now they're looking at it, and now it's up to $32 billion. And by the way, it's still going up. And their answer is, let's give away more money. Now, it's not just the money that you're going to give away to the workers who are already here, to the undocumented workers who are already here. But what are you telling all of the 6 million that have come across our southern border? What are you telling them? You're telling them, come to California, it's the place you ought to be. So they loaded up the truck and they went to California. That's what's going to wind up happening. When you do as California has done and say, and let's be real, look at it right now. You look at all of the sanctuary cities and all of the sanctuary states. They're all crying now because now you have, by the way, you don't just have Republicans, because they want to say Greg Abbott and Ron DeSantis are the ones are the ones that are sending migrants to them. The mayor of El Paso, a Democrat, is sending them. The president of the United States, that's right, the White House they're not putting them on buses, they've been putting on planes and sending them to major cities that are sanctuary cities. And those sanctuary cities are going broke because they don't have the resources to actually be sanctuary cities. California, which is a sanctuary state, offering tons of benefits to those who have entered the country illegally. Where do you think that is all free? Look, just because we're offering free benefits doesn't mean they're free. It means that somebody else is paying the bill. So do this. Take out your pay stub, right? Look at your pay stub. You got it? You see that California tax line, state tax line? Yeah, that's your money that's going to them. Oh, by the way, look at the unemployment insurance benefits. If unemployment insurance winds up going to that, guess what? Yep, that money's going to go up too, because obviously more draws on the system. They need more money. Premiums go up. It is a recipe for fiscal disaster. And see, Gavin Newsom has benefited from the fact that, one of the things that COVID did was because so much of the economy shifted online, a lot of the technology company stock went up, and California is heavy, heavy, heavy when it comes to dependence on the investment class. And the stock market went up dramatically. But here's the thing. As the economy starts to slow, as we come closer to recession, as the interest rate hikes start to hit, right? Fewer people are buying homes, fewer people are doing investing. And what you're seeing happen is you're starting to see the economy is going to slow down. The people making money off of their investments is starting to go down. It's going down dramatically. The fact that no more money is coming from COVID. We're not getting COVID money anymore. See, he thought that gravy train was never going to end. Or at the very least, he thought he would be able to get out of here. He thought he'd be out of Dodge, running for president before the gravy train ended. And, well, it hasn't. And he isn't. And so here we are. Yeah, it is a sad state of affairs, once again, in the state of California. But you know what? Hopefully the voters of California will wake up. I'm hoping, Okay, here we are on our parting shots. Parting shots are brought to you by Hog Holsters. If you don't already have one, you need to get one. Just go to hogholsters.com. Make sure you use the discount code The Rundown. All caps, no spaces. Get your Hog Holster today. Now, you would have many on the left lead us to believe that the United States of America, is a horrible place, that we are full of white supremacy and that we don't care about people of color. Well, guess what? Evidently, those who are waiting at our southern border don't believe that. If you look, these are a bunch of migrants who appear to be I don't want to say third world. They appear to be of people of color. And it's the wall. It's a big U.S. wall. It says, and all of them are yelling, please let us in so we can be victims of systematic racism and white supremacy. I'll let that irony settle in on you. Because as I've always said, if we're people who are so upset and so angry about how bad and evil it is here in the United States, it's kind of funny that people from all over the world are trying to get here. People from all over the world want to be here, want to live here, want to have the opportunities that they have. I'm thinking, sometimes maybe you ought to give up your spot. Go ahead and give up your spot and let some of those folks come on in and get in where they fit in. All right, that then leads me to our next one. We also talked a little bit about the debt ceiling. And this one I think is perfect. And this is an older gentleman and a young girl. And I will read it to you. It says, hey, kid, I maxed out your credit card. My what? Yep, capped it out. $33 trillion. Need you to raise the limit ASAP. Wait, my card? Are you paying me back? Well, hell no. I'll be dead long before I ever get to pay it back. But you'll cut spending a little, right? So cute. Next you'll ask me to stop with drawing all your Social Security deposits. My what? Yep, that is quite frankly kind of the discussion and the debate these days. And we all have our president to thank for that. And, I think maybe it's about time that there's a little thing that we've been leaning on that maybe we need to get back away from that. And that's this. This is a sign. Looks like it's, I don't know if it's a gas station sign or just a street sign, roadside sign. It says, can we just admit that we may have taken this anyone can grow up to be president thing just a bit too far? Oh, yes, that is true. Because, we've messed up. At least I could say this last time we've definitely messed up. But anyway, folks, that's going to be about it for today. But before we go, I just want to remind you, please check out Hitman Industries, rifle and pistol caliber barrels available for you today. Be a part of California's future today. Join the California Republican Assembly. Get your hog holster at hogholster.com. Use discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces. And finally, get your outdoor gear, tactical gear, camping gear from uscombatgear.com. And on that note, we're going to go ahead and call it a day. We very much appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you liking and sharing the program, encouraging your friends to do the same. We will be back tomorrow on Thirsty Thursday. Y'all take care. See you then.